Hello everybody, and welcome back to this restoration project of a Fokker DR1 at 1/4 scale. As you can see here, the lower wings have been sorted and fettled. I'm quite happy with them. They've been covered in dress lining, which is I find to be very lightweight. So that's done. So that's one down, 2.5 to go if you count the one between the undercarriage. So I'll move that out of the way. Right, what do I do here? I think I'm going to write this top wing off. It's going to have to be rebuilt from scratch. This wing's fine, but I've got a conundrum. I need to remove the spar. If I'm going to recover this, it would be a nightmare trying to work around the spars. Even if I cut these out here and I've got a spar going right through, it makes sense to remove this first, but to do so I'm going to have to cut it out. I'll cut it out, reblock everything up. It'll be far more substantial in this area if I do that. Leave a slot for that to slide through. Once it's covered, burn through the covering, slide it through, glue it in place, and I think I'll set it like that. The other issue that needs sorting out with this wing is, for simplicity's sake, on the Baronet, which this is just an enlarged version of the Baronet, I believe perhaps even the Flare DR1, which is at 1/4 scale, might have a similar approach. There's no scalloping in this area to improve the visibility or the viewing that the pilot can have. If I show you a wing from another model, you can see that that's what needs to be done. So I'm going to do that. I fully intend to change this, and I think to be able to do that all properly and also to put the small riblets in and so on, I'm going to have to hack it away. I'm going to cut it here and cut it here, and then slide this out, take this out, rebox this up. It's strengthened anyway. Rebox this up so it can be sorted out, covered and so on, and then that's the other wing done. Let's get cracking. Time to get brutal. Let's cut this out. Let's keep going. Right, that should be loose. There you go. One down, do the other side, and then we'll pull it apart. I've cut through the upper ribs that are supporting the spars, and now it's a case of taking these cabane struts out, or what's left of them. There should be a part that goes to the front. I think these are going to be replaced with aluminium ones, because it's obvious what's happened with this model at some stage, and that's probably why it's been retired to the hangar, is that it's tipped over, which is a fairly common feature with these planes, I believe. So if I replace them with aluminium struts or wire struts with wooden cladding, perhaps, I don't know. They're fairly lightweight when you look at the prototype, we'll see, but they need to be replaced anyway. So we need to take this off. That's that done. This cable is no good to man the beast because the servos have had it. Let's cut that off. Now we should be able to part company with the lower wing. Famous last words. That's it. Upper wing off. It's definitely cabbage, that. Let's have a look at this, what it's like. Yeah, I'm going to have to cut out these as well. I know it's brutal, but it's the only way I can get back to a wing that I can work with and pin this down if it needs straightening out slightly. Might need wetting and pinning overnight, we'll see. And I want to cut this area out and scallop it so it looks more like the prototype. So they've got to be cut out. As brutal as it appears, you lose this. I'll make a box around this area for this to slide through. I think that's the way I'm going to go with it. So let's do that now. Well, there we have it. I know that looks rather brutal, hacking it all out like that, but it's only balsa wood, and balsa is very versatile. You can craft all kinds of shapes from it. Nothing to be worried about. I think what I will do with this, before I actually start doing any structural work, is I'll actually wet the whole frame, put some cellophane down, and I'm going to pin it down and leave it overnight, because it's not bad, but I think I can twist that into being absolutely flat, and that's the first job that needs to be done. So overnight job, time for a coffee, time for a chill out. That's a daunting task out the way. Next stage to come. The morning after the night before, I'm about to unpin this from the board. The black bags, yeah, you can see there are sandbags. Hopefully any slight misalignment will have been removed with wetting them and pinning them overnight. And now I'm going to attend to obviously the cut I've had to make in this end rib, and we'll see how it looks, see how I can box it off and repair that damage before I start hacking away the middle section. I've removed the pins from the board and I'm happy with the way things have turned out. I now need to do a little bit of repair work. Obviously, this had to be hacked out to get the wings apart. I now need to build it up, and what I think I'm going to do is replace the cutout section from the rib. That's just going to be butt glued in there. Obviously that won't be very strong, but I'll create the box first. I'll use the actual strut to check for alignment, and then I'm going to use some of this plywood and glue it over the join on both sides to create one unit again. We'll get this glued up and we'll see how it goes. As you can see, I've cut out a thin 1/16 plywood support, which I'll cut a second one out, and they'll both be glued onto here to reinforce the boxing area. So I'll do that, we'll glue it on, and then we'll have a think about where we'll go from here. Epoxy applied, and as you can see, I've used 1 or 2 clamps there. Let's take them off. You can never have enough clamps. This is from back in the day when I built steam launchers. You couldn't have enough of them. Right, now, proof of the pudding. Does this still slot through? Yeah, that's good. It's a tight fit as well, it's not a loose one. Pleased with that. Little infill on there, and on the underside, sand that flat. That's the repair done on that side. Obviously I have to repeat on the other. I think I'm going to put a triangular gusset on the inside here to bind the repair, even though this is actually straddling over this ply, to the webbing here. I think that'll really box it off nicely. So I'll just repeat it on the other side, and then we'll have a look at the centre section. Let's call this part of the video at least finished. It's now boxed in, it's repaired, stronger definitely than it was before due to the plywood bracing on the sides. You'll notice I've put a triangular gusset in to bind to the webbing and the spar, this reinforcement. It's very strong joint now, and if I try this through, it's going to pass through, and once that's covered, the hole burnt out, pass through, touch of CA to run in, it's going to be strong. That would actually involve a lot of jigging to get everything right. I'm going to call it a day for this video. The next part of the process, I'll have already put on the riblets. We've seen that done before, so there's no point in repeating it. But this centre section needs some major engineering work done on it. I'm thinking about cutting all of this out up to this support for the cabane struts, cutting all that out to create the scallop look. So it'll have to involve some redesigning and some redesigning of the fuselage. So that's a video on its own right. I'll crack on and do this stuff that you've already seen before. Until then, please give it a thumbs up if you've enjoyed it, and subscribe if you haven't done so. I hope everybody can get flying this weekend. If you can't, let's get creative and do some building. Bye for now.